Imagine you're in elementary school again, sitting in a classroom getting ready to take the same standardized test you've been taking for 2 days in a row now. When you think about this, focus on how that experience made you feel. Personally, I remember when I was taking these tests, how stressed I felt before and during the tests, as well as how defeated I felt afterwards. And even though I'm old enough that I don't have to take these standardized tests anymore, it still affects young students and teachers today. Hi, I'm Caitlin Vogel, a student at Sussex Technical High School, and today I will be speaking about the problems created by standardized testing. Even though I currently don't have a career path, I plan to pursue elementary education during college, and so standardized testing will affect me and my career as teaching in the future. Well, standardized testing is defined by Top Hat Dictionary as a method of assessment that is built on the principle of consistency, where all of the questions are the same and they're graded the same way for all students. Testing was originally enacted by law in 2001 by the No Child Left Behind Act, and this act was made to ensure that all students were receiving the same fair quality of education across the nation. However, testing has deviated from its original purpose and is now used mostly to measure student learning growth as well as to evaluate teachers and schools. And this has created a variety of issues. The main issues include testing not being inclusive to all students, testing changing teaching curriculum and taking away from learning opportunities, and testing causing stress in both students and in teachers. To begin, testing is not inclusive to all students because all students are different. Since all students come from different backgrounds and different families, they do not all fit the same mold, and it cannot be expected that all students succeed on the same set of questions. Standardized tests are currently biased because it's one set of questions, and it has been proven that they're created in favor of white middle upper class students. Now, students from low income families and minority races have been proven to perform lower on these tests and have a disadvantage because they lack the experiences and resources that the white middle upper class students have access to. Along with this, all students learn at a different rate and perform at a different rate. So they're not expected to perform the same way on one test. And simply put, some students may have great scores in school, but they may just not be great test takers. Along with this, testing changes teaching curriculum because the welfare of a teacher's job directly correlates with test scores. And administrators and school districts use these test scores to evaluate teachers and how effective they are. Because of this, teachers often teach to the test and test taking skills rather than teach actual lessons and curriculum. Typically, they teach two subjects that they know will be on the standardized test to make sure their students perform well, and afterwards, they completely disregard the subjects. This puts students at a disadvantage because they don't retain any information for the future and they're lacking important lessons. Along with this, testing simply causes stress for both students and teachers. Students who take tests often feel many negative emotions towards school and learning, lowered self esteem, issues with mental health, and questioning their abilities and intelligence. And this is mostly due to receiving a low test score. Also, for teachers, they feel immense stress and pressure from administrators and school districts to have their students perform well because their jobs are in the hands of their students' test scores. And the problem affects the audience of teachers, administrators, and lawmakers because teachers are associated with proctoring tests and their jobs are in the hands of their students and making sure their students do well on these tests. Administrators have the power to evaluate teachers, and they can also change how teachers are evaluated. And lastly, lawmakers are the people who have created these standardized tests and put them into place by law, so they have the power to either change them or to reform the standardized testing or eradicate it completely. The research that I did for this presentation today is an interview with Jennifer Nine, who is a fourth grade elementary teacher at North Georgetown Elementary School, and she was interviewed about the effects of standardized testing on students and on teachers. Through this interview, she provided her opinion on why these problems were created and personal solutions and her opinions on the problem. Most importantly, she gave the audience a much better understanding of a first-hand experience on how teachers are affected by standardized testing. Other research that was conducted include using academic articles and essays that address the problems and solutions from standardized testing. The purpose of this research today is to persuade all audience members that standardized testing is inefficient and must be changed, to clarify how testing has affected audience members, and to propose solutions to this problem. Essentially, the issue of standardized testing in elementary and middle schools will be assessed through the report through introducing the problem, which was previously stated, providing solutions to this problem, and providing recommendations for solving this problem. The two main solutions to this problem are to reform standardized tests or to replace standardized tests. To reform standardized tests, three changes must be made, which are to provide feedback for students, make standardized tests more predictable, and to teach curriculum rather than teach to the test. Currently, students receive no educational benefits and are not able to improve their scores from standardized testing. However, if we implement these solutions, students will be able to learn from their mistakes and improve their scores in the future. To implement this solution, lawmakers would have to become involved to change standardized tests and how they're made by adding feedback and by making them more predictable. There is no known cost for this solution, however, there would most likely be an increase in cost because they would have to be adding things to standardized tests. However, this solution has worked in many areas, such as the ACT and SAT tests in high school. In these tests, the students are given feedback and the tests are predictable so the students know exactly what to study. Due to this, they're able to educationally benefit from these tests and to improve their scores in the future. The second solution of replacing standardized testing includes informal observation and portfolio based assessments. For informal observation, the teacher will observe the child throughout the school day and understand the student's needs and how well they're working and growing. For portfolio based assessments, the teacher will compile a portfolio of samples of the student's work throughout the year, and at the end of the year, they will assess how well the student has grown and how much the student has learned. This can also be used for administrators when they evaluate how well a teacher is at teaching, and they can see exactly the curriculum and the plans that were taught. To implement this solution, lawmakers would also have to get involved by eradicating the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001, which implemented standardized testing in the United States. Along with this, there is no known cost, but since no standardized tests will be created, then most likely the government will save money. Also, this solution has been proven to work in Singapore as well as Howard County schools, where they have eradicated standardized testing, and now currently they use other alternative methods such as informal observation and portfolio based assessments. The best recommendation for solving this problem is to use a mixture of informal observation and portfolio based assessments and to eradicate standardized testing. Even though standardized testing can be reformed, there are still problems that are able to arise concerning accuracy and bias. Informal observation and portfolio based assignments allow for students to have differences, and they're unbiased and promote differences. They do not promote stress as well. Also, they can be used for the main uses that standardized testing is used for today, which is to measure student learning growth and to evaluate how well a teacher is in the classroom. Essentially, these alternative methods are more accurate and unbiased, and they're a better solution to the problem than reforming standardized testing. Overall, standardized testing has run its course, and while it was originally used with good intentions of measuring the quality of education, currently it has not been used for that, and so it is time to be retired and replaced with alternative methods. And these include informal observation and portfolio based assessments. Students will benefit from these solutions, and students and teachers will be able to create a better, more learning environment, and everyone in the end will benefit. Thank you so much.